Okay, so taking a look at number 2 from our review, we've got to find x and y. And we've got 3 different things happening in this problem. We have an inscribed angle, that 34-degree angle where that arrow is pointing to is an inscribed angle. Remember, that means that the vertex is on the circle. We have some angles like angle y, which is this angle right here, where the vertex is inside the circle, but not the center and not on the circle. And then for x, we have the vertex outside the circle. And all 3 of them are calculated differently, though there's some similarities in the formulas. So remember, an inscribed angle, like the 34-degree angle and the 18-degree angle, they are just half the intercepted arc. So the intercepted arc for the 34-degree angle is this arc. And so that means that that arc must have a measure of 68 degrees. And then the same thing's true here. This intercepted arc must be 36 degrees because the inscribed angle that intercepts it, that arc, is 18. So you multiply 18 by 2 to get 36. All right, so that's the first thing we do. And then the second thing we do is we use our formulas for if the vertex is inside the circle, like y, or outside the circle. And remember, they're the same except for inside the circle, you add the intercepted arcs. Outside the circle, you subtract. So y, because the 2 intercepted arcs formed by these 2 lines are going to be the 68 and the 34, y is just going to be the sum of those 2 arcs, 36 plus 68, divided by 2. And so that gives you 104 divided by 2, which is 57 degrees. So the measure of angle y is just 57 degrees. And then when it's outside the circle, and so our vertex is outside the circle, the formula is the same, except instead of adding the 2 intercepted arcs, which again, the 2 intercepted arcs for that angle are both still 68 and 36, you subtract them. Clearly, you got to subtract the bigger from the smaller, or smaller from the bigger. So we're going to do 68 minus 36 divided by 2, which gives you 32 divided by 2, which is 16 degrees. So the answer for x and y on this one are 57 degrees and 16 degrees. This is 2 really good examples of those 3 formulas we have: inscribed angle, angle inside the circle, angle outside the circle. All right, for number 5, this one you've got a vertex outside the circle, but we're not talking about angles, we're actually talking about sides. And this is where we use the power of a point theorem. And the power of a point, if you remember, the general idea is that the distance from the point to the circle along any line is going to be, the product of the distances is always going to be the same. So the first line is going to be this one. So there are 2 distances to the circle from that point. There's this distance, which is z, and so we're going to multiply z times the other distance, which is going to be that distance from that point to the circle, the other side of the circle. Well, that length is going to be z plus 12. And so power of a point says multiply those together, then go to another line and multiply its distances to the circle together. So in this case, it's going to be 4 times, so that's that length, right, times the entire length here, which is going to be 4 plus 8, which is 12. So that gives me z squared plus 12z equals 48. So we get this equation. The first thing we would do is try to factor it, but if you try to factor it, 16 and 3 gives you close, but it doesn't work. So you need to use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so z is just going to give you negative 12 plus or minus square root of b squared, which would be 12 squared or 144, minus 4 times a, that coefficient is just 1, times c, which is your negative 48, and then all over 2 times 1. Now we need to go through and simplify this, and so you get negative 12. We're not going to do minus that square root because that would give us a negative answer, so we can throw away the minus part, plus the square root of, well, this is just going to be 192, 4 times 48, plus 144, which is going to give you 336 in here, divided by 2. It does turn out that 16 goes into that. It goes into it 21 times. So you get negative 12 plus 4 root 21 all over 2. The 2's can all cancel out of those things, and so you end up with -6 plus 2 root 21 as your answer.